Hello everybody, welcome back all of you in online classes, class 8 science classes, and we have already started our chapter 9, that is reproduction in animals, and we have discussed about the mode of reproduction, asexual and sexual reproduction, and in our previous video we have discussed about the fertilization, and now we know that what is fertilization. We know that the human beings are having the internal fertilization, and some amphibians like frog and fishes are having the external fertilization. And we know that what is fertilization: the fusion of male gamete sperm with the female gamete to form a zygote is called fertilization during the sexual reproduction. And mode of fertilization, we know that there is a two mode of fertilization, that is internal fertilization and external fertilization. And the fertilization which occurs inside the female's body is called internal fertilization. For example, mammals and birds and reptiles, human beings. Then what about the external fertilization? In external fertilization, we can say the fertilization which occurs outside the female's body is called internal fertilization. For example, amphibians, animals like frog and fishes. So today we are going to discuss about the development of embryo that we have already started, and we have discussed about the viviparous animals and oviparous animals also. So today we are going to start with the development of embryo, and as we have discussed viviparous and oviparous animals, we know that what is viviparous and oviparous. Both in humans and hens, internal fertilization take place. Humans give birth to babies, whereas hens lay eggs. And the animals like humans, dogs, cows and cats which give birth to young ones are called viviparous animals. And animals like frog, lizard, butterflies, hens which lay eggs are called oviparous animals. So today we are starting with the young ones to adult. So students, we have discussed that in internal fertilization take place in hens also, but they do not give birth to young ones. After fertilization, the zygote divides repeatedly and travels to the oviduct. As it travels, many protective layers are formed around it, and the hard shell that we see in hen's egg is one such protective layer. So after the hard shell is formed around the developing embryo, the hen finally lays the egg. So the embryo takes about 3 weeks to develop into chick. The hen sits on the egg to provide sufficient warmth. This is called incubation, as we have discussed. So the development of the chick takes place inside the egg shell during this period. So when the chick is completely developed, it bursts open the egg shell. This is called hatching. So chick comes out of the egg shell and undergoes the development process. Similarly, young ones of insects, reptiles and other birds hatch from eggs. So now how young ones to adult, this converting process is going on. So the new individual which are born or hatched from the eggs continue to grow till they become adults. Mostly the young ones have similar shape and structure as their parents, but in some cases the young ones look different from the adults. Animals like frog, mosquitoes and butterflies have different stages of development between hatching of eggs and the formation of an adult individual. So now we'll discuss about the next topic, that is adults, young ones to adults. The new individual which are born or hatched from the eggs continue to grow till they become adults. In some animals, the young ones may look very different from the adults. Recall the life cycle of silkworm. Silkworm is having in their life cycle, first stage is egg, then larva or caterpillar, then pupa, then adult. That you studied in class 7. Frog is another such example that is given in figure 9.10, the life cycle of frog. So observe the different stages of frog starting from the egg to adult stage. We find that there are three distinct stages, that is egg, then tadpole, that is larva of egg, frog, that is called tadpole, then adult. Don't the tadpoles look so different from the adults? Can you imagine that these tadpoles would someday become frog? Similarly, the caterpillar or the pupa of silkworm looks very different from the adult moth. So the features that are present in the adult are not found in these young ones. As you can see in the life cycle of frog, you can see the larva, we can say that is tadpole, it is completely different in its structure. Then what happens to the tadpoles or caterpillars thereafter? You must have seen beautiful moth emerging out of cocoon. In the case of tadpoles, they transform into adults capable of jumping and swimming. The drastic changes is called transformation of the larva into the adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. What about the changes that we observe in our body as we grow? Do you think we too undergo metamorphosis? In human beings, body parts similar to those present in the adults are present from the time of birth. So students, in the development of frog, an adult female frog lays a large number of eggs in water. After some time, the eggs hatch into small fish-like larva that is called tadpole, that you can observe in figure 9.10 B. The early tadpole structure is given, that grow larger as they feed on bits of plants material, or we can say algae also. So the tadpole grows hind limbs after the development of both pair of limbs. The young frog crawls to the land. So the tail is resorbed, or we can say that is removed by gradual breakdown. So and the frog continues to grow until it reaches its adult body size. This transformation of the larva into the adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. And in mosquito, when the egg hatches, a worm-like larva comes out. In about 2 weeks, it changes into an adult mosquito. And butterfly also, the butterfly and moth also pass through the larva and pupa stages before the winged adult is born. So this is all about the development of frog. And one important process we have discussed here, that is metamorphosis. So what is metamorphosis? The transformation of the larva into adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. So now we know that after the hatching the egg, the fish-like structure is coming out, that is called larva, and the larva of frog is known as a tadpole. Then tadpole feed on the bits of plants material. Then tadpole grows hind limbs, and after development of both the pairs of limb, the young frog crawls to the land. So this is all about the transformation of larva into adult, and this transformation of larva into adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. Now we will discuss the another mode of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction. So far we have learned about reproduction in some familiar animals, but what about very small animals like hydra and microscopic organisms like amoeba? Do you know how they reproduce? Let us find out. So now we will discuss about the another asexual reproduction, that is the another mode of reproduction, and it is found in the small, we can see that microscopic organism like amoeba and hydra. So there are several methods of asexual reproduction in animals like binary fission, budding, fragmentation and regeneration. So let us study about the binary fission and budding in detail. You can observe the figure 9.11. The budding in hydra is given. This is the diagram of hydra, and budding in hydra is given in figure 9.11. So what is budding? In each hydra there may be one or more bulges. These bulges are developing new individual and they are called buds. Recall the presence of buds in yeast. In hydra too, the new individual develop as outgrowths from a single parent. So students, you can see in the figure 9.11, you can observe the first figure, and you can see properly that one outgrowth is coming out from the body of the hydra, that is called buds. So in hydra, outgrowth from a single parent is coming out, that is called bud, and this type of reproduction in which only a single parent is involved is called asexual reproduction. Since new individual develop from the buds in hydra, this type of asexual reproduction is called budding. So this is the example of budding in hydra. So what is happening in budding? We can say that budding is also a type of asexual reproduction, and in budding a small outgrowth called bud is formed on the body of the parent organism, which grows in size and get detached to form a new organism. So in hydra the mode of reproduction is budding. So budding occur in organisms like hydra, sponges and corals also. So in hydra we can see that first a small outgrowth called bud grows on the side of its body. You can observe in figure 9.11. This bud then grows gradually to form a small hydra by developing a mouth and tentacles. You can observe in the figure 9.11 the third diagram. So the daughter hydra now detaches itself from the body of parent hydra, and this daughter hydra then grows into an adult organism. So this is the one mode of asexual reproduction, that is budding. Another method of asexual reproduction is observed in the microscopic organism, that is amoeba. We know that amoeba is a microscopic organism and it is a unicellular organism. Let us see how this happens. You have already learned about the structure of amoeba. You will recall that amoeba is a single-celled organism. You have to observe figure 9.12a first. It begins the process of reproduction by the division of its nucleus into two nuclei. You can clearly observe that in figure A, amoeba is having a single nucleus. Then after some time, the nucleus is dividing into two nuclei. You can observe the dividing nucleus in figure 9.12b. So it begins the process of reproduction by the division of its nucleus into two nuclei, that is given in figure 9.12b. This is followed by the division of its body into two, each part receiving a nucleus, that is given in figure 9.12c. Finally, two amoebae are produced from one parent amoeba, that you can see in the figure 9.12d. This type of asexual reproduction in which an animal reproduces by dividing into two individuals is called binary fission. Apart from budding and binary fission, There are other methods by which a single parent reproduces young ones. You will study about these in your higher classes. So students, what is binary fission? So in amoeba we can say that mode of reproduction is a binary fission. So we can observe in figure 9.12. So it is the simplest method of asexual reproduction that occur in unicellular organism like amoeba and paramecium and euglena also. So in binary fission, the parent organism divide to form two new organisms of the same kind. In binary fission of a fully grown amoeba, the nucleus lengthens and divides into two parts. After that, the cytoplasm of amoeba divides into two parts around each nucleus. So in this way, single parent amoeba divides to form two daughter amoebae. So the two daughter amoeba produced by binary fission then grow to their full size and divide again. So this is all about the binary fission that is occur in amoeba. So first nucleus is dividing, that is called karyokinesis, and after some time cytoplasm is also dividing, then completely cell is dividing, and after dividing two daughter cells are forming. So this is called binary fission and it is the another mode of asexual reproduction. Now one more topic is given, that is cloning. Story of Dolly the clone. Cloning is the production of an exact copy of a cell, any other living part or a complete organism. Cloning of an animal was successfully performed for the first time by Lan Wilmot and his colleague at the Roslin Institute in Edinburgh, Scotland. They successfully cloned a sheep named Dolly. Dolly was born on 5th July 1996 and was the first mammal to be cloned. So cloning is the production of an exact copy of a cell, any body, part or complete organism. The animals which is genetically identical are called clones. The animals which are genetically identical are called clone. And the cloning in the mammal was successfully done for the first time by Lan Wilmot and his colleague at Roslin Institute in Edinburgh, Scotland, and they successfully cloned a sheep named Dolly. During the process of cloning Dolly, a cell was collected from the mammary gland of a female fin dorsate sheep. Simultaneously, an egg was obtained from a Scottish black-faced ape. The nucleus was removed from the egg, then the nucleus of the mammary gland cell from the fin dorsate sheep was inserted into the egg of Scottish black-faced ape whose nucleus had been removed. The egg thus produced was implanted into the Scottish black-faced ape. Development of this egg followed normally and finally Dolly was born. Though Dolly was given birth by the Scottish black-faced ape, it was found to be absolutely identical to the fin dorsate sheep from which the nucleus was taken. Since the nucleus from the egg of Scottish black-faced ape was removed, Dolly did not show any character of the Scottish black-faced ape. So Dolly was healthy clone of the fin dorsate sheep and produced several offspring of her own through normal sexual means. And unfortunately, Dolly died on 14th February 2003 due to a certain lung disease. Since Dolly, several attempts have been made to produce clone mammals. However, many die before birth or die soon after birth. the cloned animals are many a time found to be born with severe abnormalities. So students, what is cloning actually? Cloning is the production of an exact copy of a cell, any body part or a complete organism, and the animal which are genetically identical are called clones. So students, with this topic we have completed this chapter, and in this chapter we have studied about the reproduction in animals, and now we know there is a two mode of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. We know that in sexual reproduction fertilization is done, and we have studied about the two type of fertilization, that is internal fertilization, for example in human, and external fertilization, for example in frogs and fish also. Then we have studied about the asexual reproduction, and we have studied the two mode of asexual reproduction, that is budding occur in hydra and binary fission occur in amoeba. So this is all about this chapter, reproduction in animals. Thank you everyone.